It's Mark, and it's time to start our live show. And so tonight, our sponsor is, of course, at the Stop Motion Store, our Bendy's Armature Kits. And they are made with special PLA plastic that we 3D print. And they're also made out of aluminum wire. And they have replacement parts, so you can essentially pop arms off and legs and things. So if wires should ever break, you can just replace it. So it's kind of a cool thing. They're really affordable and great for beginner animators. So check it out. So I'm going to get rid of this screen now, which is somewhere on here. Let's see. There we go. So let's see. So this week we're going to talk about our... Let me refresh this page before I actually go on, because sometimes people post things at the last moment, as we've learned. So we have a 5-week challenge, and we're going to go over all the challenges. Now, there's only 2 of them, so that's okay. So we got one from S. Gerald and one from Tamarami. And we're also going to talk about, or watch and review, one of Tamarami's videos called Lion for a Day. And it's about 3 minutes long, so it's a short film she made. And she makes these about once every week, a new film. Every Monday, she tells a little story about herself and her life experience. It's actually kind of cool. And then also we have Don Carlson, who's going to come on in a little while as well to talk about some various things. Probably sculpting tools, I think he mentioned, and probably puppet putty and what he's been up to lately. So should be kind of fun. All right, so to start, we're going to look at these entries. Now, the rules are of course the same every week, or every 5 weeks, I should say. Every time we go over these, the rules haven't really changed. The only thing I think we changed was what? That it's not really a rule change, but more like a recommendation that whoever wins, when they pick a new challenge, we should choose a challenge topic that hasn't been done before. So for example, I mean, it is the holiday season, it's Christmas time and all that. And we've kind of done Christmas as a topic over and over again. So I think it was Zakira, of course, you know, she's been doing these topic challenges for, wow, years now. So she was kind of saying, you know, we shouldn't really, or we should try not to repeat stuff, because it's kind of gets old for people that have been doing it long term. So it's the only real change, but otherwise, what we're going to do is we're going to watch these twice. We're going to look at Tamarami's, and then we're going to look at S. Gerald's. And let's see how many people we got in the chat so far. How many people are watching? We got about 5. So not too many. That's okay. Actually, you know, I'm sure more people will pop in here in a minute, but what we're going to do is watch the first one. Let me see if I can get this large for everybody first.
Why do birds have feathers? I don't really know, so I'm googling it. A bird's feathers help the bird to stay warm and protect the bird's body. Many birds' feathers are waterproof, which keeps them safe from the rain and helps them to stay warm. Feathers are lightweight and allow the bird to catch and direct air with their wings in a special way that allows them to fly. Feathers help to attract a mate, hide, and also camouflage. It's interesting that before you would go and read a book about birds, and now we just get an answer by a click. We are very lucky that new information is so easy to access. When I started with sculpting and making comics for my cousin, I had 2 characters, Era and Tara. 2 talking macaws, and they were carrier birds. As a child, when I found a feather, I believed my angel was watching over me and would give me a gift, so I would know that they were still rooting for me up there. I have no idea why I believe that, but we live in a time where birds are more YouTube famous than people, so I guess they are doing a pretty good job for themselves. Do you have a favorite bird? Let me know in the comments down below. The website I googled is linked in the description if you would like to read more information about birds and feathers yourself. Also, if you like my content, don't forget to subscribe. That was it for this week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!
And so, great job as always. And so let's watch Feather from S. Gerald. And after this, of course, cast your vote. Since it's so short, why not? So although this is a really short one, there are of course a lot of like little joints I can see, and it looks like they're using those what do you call those little things that you stick through the paper, and it's got like two little bendy parts, like brass parts that you can bend outwards. I forget what they're called, but it's really a cool little way to construct some puppets, flat puppets. So Wee Beast says birds have feathers, gets my vote. And CB says I like. Claymara gets my vote. The way the feather falls looks great, and the parrots are nice and detailed. Okay. Seems like my pen ran out of ink here. So that's 2 for Tamarami. So anybody else who would like to vote, do so now. And Randy says that feather is amusing, but I vote birds have feathers. She put a lot of work and research into her piece. All right. Anybody else? Let's see, we've got 6 people here, so we got at least 2 more votes. If we get 1 for just feather, then we'll need 2 votes. And going once, going twice. All right, well, I'm gonna call it. I think Tamarami is the winner this time. Obviously did a lot of work to create 2 minutes of animation, which is a lot. Okay, so Don says, I vote for birds have feathers too. I thought it was cute and entertaining. Same here. Yeah, I think Feather by S. Gerald is, I think the idea is it's simple, it's unexpected, so there's some humor in there when the feather lands on him and he kind of flies off. And the construction is simple, but I think it's really smart to use those little thingamabobbers. What are they called anyway? But I know what he's doing there, and it's really ingenious in a way. And the animation, as short as it is really well done. I like how he kind of rubs his head like the feather hurt him, a feather on a rhinoceros. But anyways, all right. So congratulations to Marami, and so we're gonna move on. And so I will, of course, I will contact you after the live show is over. I'll send you a message and let you know that you won. And yeah, so thanks both of you guys for entering. Now, Tamarami did send me a Facebook message about this, which is called Line for a Day. And in the description, it says, childhood playtime story turned into animation. And I think what we'll do is we'll watch this. And after this, I'm going to call up Don. And I think that Tamarami is asking for some constructive criticism. She wanted us to discuss this. And that's actually perfect because we don't have a lot of entries otherwise for our feather challenge this time. So I think we'll just kind of go over this and kind of scrutinize it a bit. Maybe we could give some ideas and tips, if any. But let's watch and see what this is all about.
Before we begin, I want to say that this fictional fantasy hopefully we all can. When my cousin and I were kids, we used to pretend we were lions. So I thought to go with that idea but make us actual lions. To become a lion, I have to make a very complicated potion that I can only make hut on an island. Our journey starts by getting the ingredient. The most important ingredient, the hair of a lion. So I sneaked into the zoo to secretly get some hair from the lion. It's not easy to get at all, but if you're smart, we'll find a solution. I think my cousin just arrived.
Hello.
I'm working on a potion to turn us into a lion for a day.
Awesome. I love lions. Do you have all the ingredients?
Yes, I just need to add the lucendalia and the reincarnation nuts. When we finish drinking the potion, go through there right away so we can end up at a random savannah.
Okay.
Let's drink this. Glop, 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 glop. Let's go fast. What are we going to do now?
Lay in the sun and watch the sunrise, running as fast as we can. Let everything fly by and jump in a puddle to scare some birds.
I think I'll just goof around, drink some water, and chase a bug around. Let's go to sleep now. Tomorrow we will go back to normal.
It was a great experience. I'd like to do it again someday.
Yeah. Good night. We would like to know what you think about this fantasy adventure, and do you actually like lions? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, if you like my content, don't forget to subscribe. That was it for this week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!
Right, so really awesome. Now I'm gonna call up Don, and hopefully this will work. I'm gonna use Google to call him. So let's see what happens. And I think the last time we talked to Don, the audio was really way off, and I think like his voice, or either my voice or his voice, was blasting everybody. So I'm gonna try to make sure that doesn't happen this time and mix my audio a little bit better. So let's see if this works. All right, my headphones work. That's good. All right, so I can talk to you on here without having to keep my speakers on, which would, you know, not be nice. So anyways, again, thanks for coming on the show.
Sure.
And so I know that you've had some issues this week, some very bad luck, having to go to the hospital and all that, you know. So I wasn't really sure if you would come on, but I'm really glad that you seem to be, at least you sound pretty good.
Yeah, I feel like I was set fire and run over with a steamroller.
Ooh, I can imagine. Yeah, it sounds like I saw your Facebook post and I thought, oh man, I hope that Donna's okay. The way that you sounded was like, you know, you were at the end of your life or something. You know, like, oh my God, get some help. But yeah, I'm glad you're doing well. So anyway, actually, you know what? Before we talk about Tamarami's video. So Don is actually the creator of Puppet Punny, for those that haven't come across what he's been up to in the world of stop motion. And he's also made some stop motion films in the past. I think Blue Alien Summer is one of his more maybe well-known films. Would you say, Don?
Yeah, for the 5 people who saw it, yeah.
Well, I know you put it up, you got a lot of hits, and I think you didn't you take it down, and then you altered it, and you put it back up.
Yeah, I wasn't happy with the story, and that was before I went to film school and really studied with Will Vinton and learned about storytelling, and which is, that's more what I took from that is more evident in the Film Center animations that I did, which are now on my YouTube channel.
Very cool. Yeah, so you've been trained
It
by
just says Don C.
Don C. Okay, and so you've actually been trained literally by Will Vinton, in his class.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah,
really...
yeah. He came on the show at one point and confirmed that when he was a guest.
Yes, yes.
Yes, I'm not lying. I'm not. And the internet, I guess, got bored with messing with me, and they decided, okay, yeah, just let him follow his dreams. So I went and studied well.
Well,
and,
a lot of people
was...
share that, the same aspirations as you. So it's not exactly,
Yeah. Well, they don't. I guess they don't all move, a state south to accomplish that.
Right.
Although it did take 12 years, it didn't happen overnight, but yeah, no, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, totally. Well, so now, did you get to watch Line for a Day that we just watched here of Tamarami's animation?
Yeah, I watched both. I watched all of the entries. I like that little thumbtack one, and this one, or not thumbtack, whatever those things are that are used in 2D animation and sometimes shadow animation.
Yeah, I can't think of the name of those things.
Brads. They're called brads.
Brads. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of it's simple but ingenious for that type of animation,
Yeah.
So now, Tamarami, she's been making. She used to go by Claymara, if you recall, and so she's been working on these animations fairly steadily for a long time, and now it seems like she's gotten into a groove where she's consistently making at least one animation per week. Every Monday she releases these, and so this Line for a Day I think is the latest one. She uploaded this on the 3rd, so it's only been online for 3 days, so it's I think the last one she did. And so I was watching this, and I think the cool part about this is that she kind of has this balance of making something that is not too complicated, and she gets it done on, she's figured out how to do these in a certain time frame, and balance the quality with the speed it takes. So what is your impression of what you see from her?
I think she's got good staging. I like her lighting. She's really coming a long way in the animation department.
Mm-hmm.
I think, didn't she go to school for this?
I know she was taking some college courses, but and she was doing some animation, but I think that was like an after school thing or something like that. I don't know if it was the actual course, and they asked her to do some animation.
Her clay is very brightly colored, and I like the way it photographs. It's almost like plastic. I think she's got like a similar thing to Jovi, but I don't think she's using Jovi. I remember she showed me the brand a while back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's available in the U.S., but yeah, it's good to see her using quality clay. I remember that used to be an issue.
Yeah, it does look a lot like Jovi, doesn't it? And
Yeah,
I know it's
it
local now.
looks very lightweight.
Yeah, and I think it's just local to where she moved, because I think when she moved, I don't know, she took all her clay or what, because that's heavy. But I thought it was really,
Yeah, yeah, it does.
let's see here, like the way that that it has that sort of translucency. It actually kind of looks a little bit like puppet putty, at least like the reds and the oranges. Uh,
Yeah.
it seems really close, but the flesh colored clay doesn't have the same translucency to it, from what I can tell.
Yeah.
I mean, the YouTube codecs that they use to compress video sometimes change the way the clay appears, but it does look
Yeah.
like the flesh is a little bit, I don't know, it's not as opaque, uh,
Mm-hmm.
but it looks really, really
That
good.
was the
Oh, say again.
that was the orange.
Yeah, yep. That's the orange, that's the red.
Uh, only thing that I mean, if she wants like real criticism, the only thing that I would change is I'd use beads for eyes.
That was what I
I
was
would
gonna
use
say.
and maybe like an armature. Not maybe not even too much of an armature, but just some wire to help the. I saw the arm was starting to sag over time. What during a gesture like a point or something like that.
Yeah, there's been a few shots
And
in the
the
past
hair.
like that. Yeah.
I would want to put more detail in the hair, and those are really the only three things, other than maybe just smoothing the arms
Mm-hmm.
so they're less, ragged looking. Maybe they're poor characters. I don't know. Like beggar types. But yeah, it's not terrible.
Right. And
I
see, you were thinking along
I
the
don't think
same
it's
line.
as
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, that with the
I don't
eyeballs.
think it's as yeah. I don't think it's as polished looking as the entry, but it's good. I like it. She has good storytelling technique, and I like the new logo that she uses at the end as well, with the head kind of bobbing side to side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's endearing.
See, that's she's really thought a lot of this stuff through, like in terms of, she makes the film, and being that she's using YouTube as a medium, she's trying to, draw people in and to subscribe and to like her videos and all. So I think it's actually pretty cool that she's kind of marketing, she's learning marketing, she's learning animation and all this, and it really, I think it's
Yeah.
come together in a pretty professional way. But like you said, like
Yeah.
yeah, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
I was gonna say,
I used.
sorry, I think there's a delay.
Oh, all right. I was gonna say well, yeah. I remember kind of pressuring her a little bit to get a frame grabber. Even at one point, I was going to send her a webcam, but she like that would work with stop motion animator because she didn't have a camera that could, and I looked into the specs and they didn't match up to anything that could be captured fairly easily, especially if you're living on an island where you have limited resources to get cable adapters and whatnot, but or even order them on Amazon. I don't think she could do that at the time. But she, I heard that she got she got, what was it, dragon frame. Yeah.
I think so.
And man, she's really knocking the animation out, and at a higher frame rate than she used to, and that's a really good to see.
Yeah, I think that pretty much all across the board she's really improved, and like you're saying with the higher frame rates, yeah, but she's still doing kind of like a limited animation, and it's like using
Yeah,
it wisely, you know, where she's like with the
yeah,
little
yeah.
head bob and everything, like she's kind of stretching it out, you know, so
Hmm.
it's a little bit of a cycle and everything. It's really
It works
impressive.
with the storytelling, though.
Yeah, it
It
really
really works
does.
with the storytelling.
Yeah, it's like you almost don't really need to
And
have a super intricate animation to tell the story. It's the voice kind of narrates it and draws you from one topic to the into the next. Yeah, it really helps.
you know, I think it's weird, the fact that every time I try to animate it at, like 15 frames per second, something that's more related to video, unless I have it scripted and have like I don't even have a way to do it right now, but if because of a computer upgrade I was forced to get by pressure because of a set of hacking tools and the fact that Windows was no longer supporting XP or doing updates for it.
Okay.
But yeah, what was I saying? Something about the. Oh yeah, every time I would try to animate it at a more standard video frame rate, unless it was really locked to the audio, I had a lot of trouble with timing it well. And then when I was shooting just at straight 24 and not even trying to do anything else, I had a much more of a knack for timing and fluidity of motion. So if I ever come back animating again, if I ever have time to do it, I'm gonna probably, if I try to do like a standard video frame rate, I'll probably start off waddling, um, struggling to walk, and just doing limited animation. But at
Yeah.
24, you know, I just think 24 is a good a good feel um, format.
Yeah. I mean the way a character moves at 24 frames per second I think is kind of like it's a good middle ground because you could theoretically do it in 30 frames per second, like for example
Yeah.
shooting on twos. So
Well,
it's yeah.
some people might disagree with me, but for the longest time, I've really held on to my convictions about this, and I think I kind of proved it with Blue Alien Summer. It feels more like storytelling when you shoot at 24 frames per second. The thing is, you want to make sure to have a good story to tell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the important part. Because I mean,
And that's
a lot of people will kind of go over the technical specs
yeah,
to a high degree and try and shoot for. Trying to find your film right now, actually, to bring up on YouTube. Um, and you can
yeah.
kind
Sorry,
of.
that was mine.
Actually, yeah, let me find it
I have a
before I go
smartphone.
on here.
It
Okay.
runs my life. But
I think pretty much everybody gets their lives run by smartphones these days, so you're not alone.
it's a track phone too, so it knows where I am.
Oh, here's a
Constantly
good one.
tracking.
Let me show this one particular video. So this was Helper Brain Animation, a current affair. So I think this
Oh
this
yeah,
this used the Cecil Time audio, didn't it? Let me see. Let's play this one.
yeah. That's the one you were playing when Will Vinton was guest. think. It's like, isn't that Don's?
Thus we've seen how talent, perseverance, and of course, dumb luck have shaped the Raisin's career. Or as Shakespeare so aptly put it, some are born great, some achieve greatness.
It is a difficult transition, Randy.
Have greatness thrust upon them.
You'd think it wouldn't be. Oh, there's no. Yeah, okay. I can't hear that, but there's sound on there.
Yeah, they could hear it. So that was done in 24 frames per second, wasn't it?
It was, yes, that on ones.
Yeah, so that was like the standard Will Vinton technique, or at least, I don't know if you want to really call it their technique, but that's what they locked in for.
I did it, yeah. I did it the way I learned that Leica animators were doing things on Coraline, using twos just to smooth down gestures. So it wasn't all zipping around, and it wasn't, limited animation. It wasn't held too much. And that really worked great. The twos just cushion the fast moves and give the pose time to read.
So don't you use the twos more for like when you ease in or ease out? Is that what you're saying, to like cushion it? Okay.
Yeah, moving holds. Yeah.
See, that's something that someone like Tamarami might have a hard time with, trying to do something super fine. But with bigger budgets,
it requires an armature.
Yeah, I think armatures and more time too.
Yeah, more time, more everything.
So
no life.
Pretty much, yeah. Now Randy says that he says, I usually shoot in twos at 30 frames per second, but when I worked at Vinton, I had to switch to ones at 24 frames per second. It was a difficult transition, and I had to switch back again when I moved back to Denver. So I think that's, Will Vinton pretty much made people animate that way, regardless of their usual style.
Yeah, I had a heck of a time juggling with that constantly on Blue Alien Summer, because I was shooting reference at 30 and I was animating at 24. And some of it I tried animating at 15 and it just didn't work very well. But if you saw, I get a little more adventurous at 24, and it works probably better with just the size of the sets and puppets that I was working with.
Yeah.
And so the more polished shots didn't even make it into the film, but I spent like an extra 3 months or something just shooting that entire bedroom sequence with that little kid with a baseball, throwing the baseball, the aliens.
The aliens. Where?
In the bedroom.
Did I pass it? It's probably.
I don't think. Well, I'm sure that I released it that way at one point, but I took it out because it just didn't match the rest of this so-called story.
Okay.
But but there is a clip from it on my YouTube channel, and if you find it, it will reward you with its greatness.
Is it called Here Catch, that one?
Yes.
Okay.
If it's on there.
Yep, I see it.
It must be, because
maybe you should try
I can't see it.
Playing it sometime. It's a cool game. Here, catch.
That's really cool. Yeah, so I just played it, and so he throws the ball, and the lighting is really pretty good in this one, actually. And I notice you've got some motion blur on the ball and everything.
Yeah.
It looks really polished. And your character is a good design too. He'd be an awesome character to
Thank
make
you.
more animations with. So we'll just watch that one more time.
Yeah, that was a really hot summer too when I was working on that, and so I had the hot lighting. I had that combination with the completely closed basement room, no ventilation whatsoever.
Oh.
So what I did was I had a box fan, and I just had it throwing hot air under the bed, and the bed actually absorbed the hot air, and the room stayed fairly cool, but the hot lights were still melting the clay, and it didn't help that I was constantly smoothing it with oil, trying to get it as smooth as possible. What you're looking at there, though, is a filter called a median filter has been applied, and so has a lot of post-production smoothing with digital paint.
Oh, okay. I couldn't actually tell.
Actually,
It looks really good.
yeah, I really spent a lot of time on that. I thought that I was going to be able to get this in a festival.
Yeah.
I won't say which one, but because that's a great festival, and even Will Vinton wasn't able to get his film, the one that won an Oscar. He couldn't get it into a film festival before it won an Oscar. So
That's kind of funny.
that's neither here nor there. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the way it usually is. I mean, when you're kind of pioneering or anything in a particular subject, that's odd to people because they're not used to seeing it, you know.
The Puppet Putty hasn't been in any trade shows that I know of, and I couldn't get them to buy it down the street at the art supply store. Well, it's not, I'm sorry, not an art supply store, it's an art store. Like, they actually exhibit work and little sculptures and things.
Yeah.
But they weren't interested in buying clay to sell, packs of clay there, even though it kind of looked like a gift shop. No, they're like, we're looking at finished works. And so I'm kind of mulling over the idea of making some clay sculptures and sealing them with plastic, liquid plastic, so they would be preserved and could be displayed then.
That's a smart idea.
And they are interested in that. And I've been doing this. It's kind of like plastination, like they do in the museum.
How does that work? I mean, how will you do that with Puppet Putty? I mean, can you inject it in something?
No, it's not an injection process like they use. It's just painting, on the surface with a brush. I use Taklon brushes because they're very fine. I mean, not fine, smooth. They don't have bristles. They don't have like horsehair bristles or anything that would get on the clay. It's a type of plastic and just glides across the surface.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but even with the Taklon brushes, it can be a bit of work to get into the nooks and crannies and get a uniform smooth or uniform thickness, and it can take like 3 coats sometimes. But I get Mod Podge, the decoupage. It's like boiled down Elmer's glue, and it's used in scrapbooking.
Yeah, I've seen
and
that
I
stuff.
love that stuff.
So
I love that stuff.
Yeah.
It does stick to the clay.
It does. Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and so I've actually sealed sculptures and sent them to people as gifts, and they made it in one piece. I gave my former housemate who paid for my second class, the one with Barry Bruce, the sculptor from Vinton's.
Awesome.
Master director, sculptor, animator. one of my idols for sure. The one who really informed the look of Will Vinton Studios and Will Vinton Productions before that.
Yeah, that guy is super, super talented. Maybe one of the most talented animators that has worked in clay. You know, especially.
Yeah, he just amazing. And his classes were just incredible too. He taught us a lot about sculpting, and I think I've improved quite a bit.
Did you see? Did you see some of
especially-
his like actual sculptures and characters? Did he bring some in for you to examine?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and he showed us his old molds that were made of I don't think it was silicone, but something else like a dental alginate, but it was more advanced than that. It wasn't your typical mold making material. And he showed us a 3-part mold, and I think he explained or how he created those, but I just got lost because that's pretty complex, but it allowed for several colors of clay at once.
Oh, that's cool.
Casting. So.
That's neat.
And that's what they did on Adventures of Mark Twain. And he showed us how to fake a walk.
Yeah?
Just weighing down the puppet with some kind of a metal base. Definitely not lead, but something heavy. Like steel or iron.
Yeah.
And so even like during the walk week, exercise, that one in Will Vinton's 14-week class or 13-week class, that was when we first saw Barry Bruce before he taught the following class, the next fall. Or the next, I'm sorry, it was spring, was the following spring.
That must have been so exciting.
Kind of a pun almost. It was thrilling. And so the following was kind of a, now it's like a 3-way pun. Because the following is, the preceding, what I'm about to tell you. The following class was, the one after that, and the following fall or following spring is a leap in time. So, I don't know. I'm having too much fun. Don't mind me.
Your
I
brain.
like wordplay.
Yeah.
I was a lyricist for a few years and a comedian, and comedy writer. So Yeah, I like words.
My son has a thing for puns. He's only 9, and he astounds me that no matter what you tell him, he has a pun for it. It's like some kind of bizarre thing.
No.
So I know he's destined to either, be a comedian or some kind of a wordsmith, like a poet or something, like, I don't know. But
The most hated man in the universe.
That could be possible too. But it's really sometimes he'll interrupt you when you're speaking at dinner, and he has to tell you what his pun is. It's like, and he'll laugh like it's the funniest thing, and you're just like, it's not really that funny.
How about like the Dos Equis? How about like the Dos Equis guy? The most interesting man in the universe. I'm sure you've seen those memes.
Yep.
Commercials.
Mm-hmm.
He could be the most punderful man in the universe.
There you go. See,
I don't always pun, but when I do,
I'm the most punderful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think my housemate's about to go to bed.
Oh, okay. I was not aware you had a housemate there. Or I guess I was. But
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, back to what we were talking about, Don. Let me ask you a question. What do you think about like virtual reality and stop motion? Have you ever considered that in terms of future possibilities?
I saw a guy doing it with clay. Did you see that thing that was brightly colored? It had like rainbows and just insane looking.
No.
I think,
It's in virtual reality.
yeah, using virtual reality. Yeah, interactive
Huh.
virtual reality.
I haven't come across that yet.
I may have to hunt for the link for a bit, but that's the first time I ever saw that, and it was like watching one of those RPGs, like Final Fantasy, except it was all in clay,
Yeah.
and it was just like this incredible rainbow.
Ah.
So I think it's got some computer graphics, or it might not even be clay, but it looks like clay. It's just, yeah,
Neat.
it's neat looking.
Well, I'm trying to study on how it's possible to actually do virtual reality with stop motion, because as far as I know, um, doing either 360-degree or 180-degree videos in stop motion has not really been done. But it's actually we're at the point where it can be. Like, the technology's there, but the technology is really crappy. It really sucks. In terms of the video quality, I mean, it's like a 640 by 480 web camera quality. At least like for consumer brand, the only consumer brand camera out there. Let me see if I can find it on here. But
There's
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Let me see. It's called
There's an
Lucid Cam. I'm just gonna show it up here on the screen, so whoops, so people can see it if it loads. And
there's an interesting looking thing that Stupid Buddy are doing. Did you see that with the? It's not virtual reality, but it's kind of like choose your own adventure videos.
cool.
Where you decide the fate of the characters. You pick that one, and then it plays through.
I did not see that. Let me search for them real quick. And it's like STOOPID, right? Buddy.
Yeah.
Stu. So they're doing like a. Let me go on their Facebook page. Maybe it's there. Did you find it on their Facebook wall?
No. Was I supposed to be looking?
Nope, no, you're fine. But that's interesting. You know, if I had known before the show, I would have brought it up. You know, brought that up, because that sounds really cool.
I'm gonna go ahead and Google that in the background since we're not using the Facebook
Okay.
window.
But I think that, you know, the newer technologies out there are going to give us more options for both, you know, recording and playing back animation. And I personally think virtual reality is really exciting. It's really exciting. But like I said, the quality is not really up there yet. But some sort of, like, if you can do an interactive choose your own adventure, that is even, you know, I've never even heard of how they could, how that's possible. I mean, wait a minute.
Okay, I found it.
Yeah?
Yeah, it said on the leagueofbuddies.com website.
Yeah. Let me go there. So
what I searched for...
I found their webpage. Got their webpage up.
Netflix. Okay, what I searched for, these are the keywords. Stupid Buddy Studios.
Yeah.
Pick your ending.
Ah, pick your ending. That sounds pretty cool.
Or pick your own, or what, like.
Ah.
Now there's suddenly subtext to the characters who are pointing their fingers in the air.
Huh. So this is interesting. You know what I think they're doing here? It's they're allowing you to click different recordings with different outcomes. That's probably what it is. It's probably broken down into different, you know.
Interactive episodes. What will happen next? And there's going to be several of those if there isn't already.
That is awesome.
On Netflix.
Yeah, it's
Buddy Thunderstruck, it's called.
Oh, they're doing it with Buddy Thunderstruck, right? Because I've seen a few of those episodes in the past. So it seems like that technology came out in June. So that's brand new. It's only like maybe 5 months old. Wow.
Pretty new.
Very cool.
I'm gonna dump that link in your lap.
Okay. Yeah, I'll bring it up for everybody to see.
Where are you? There we go. Okay, I Facebooked it to you.
Okay. Let me paste it in here for everybody. That is awesome. So, yeah, I see it here. Netflix lets you go behind the wheel. It says, our buddies at Netflix are taking Buddy Thunderstruck into the 4th dimension. If you think the 4th dimension is your ability to choose your own adventure, an all-new episode of Buddy Thunderstruck is hitting Netflix and lets you choose what Buddy and Darnell get up to all over Grease Pit. And then it goes on to say, in the episode, you get to tell Buddy and Darnell what to do, and they have to do it. And then you get to watch them do it. And you can read all about the special episode and Netflix's other interactive projects right here. There's like a link to it. And before you watch the interactive episode, make sure you catch up on every episode of Buddy Thunderstruck on Netflix right now. So I guess it's just one episode, but I wonder if that's, because that would, I think for stop motion, although that's awesome, I'm wondering how much extra animation they have to do per episode. Probably a lot more work. So I wonder how that works out for them, like production wise.
Well, they do ramp up like Vinton's used to do, and they've got a lot of people at once on several different projects all going at the same time. So I would imagine when one unit finishes a production or spot or whatever, a commercial, then they just go over and work on one of these sequences that need to, I noticed something, and this doesn't have anything to do with animation, but it does in a way. So if you'll just bear with me here on this thought experiment, or experiment of trying to sound like I'm thinking.
Sure.
The ability to work and play well with each other is extremely important in a lot of things, in animation, in what I do as a cashier. We still got to get along and work together, and it really makes a difference when everyone's on the same page and everyone's attitude is in check. And I saw this firsthand, and it was amazing. In the hospital, I was having trouble recalling a nurse's name because they all had the same attitude. They all were cheerful and positive.
Right.
and it made my stay in the hospital very pleasant,
That's good.
despite the fact I didn't want to be there.
Yeah. So you're just kind of like you're in other words like tying that into animation. Yeah, I mean I agree. If you can be in an environment that is stressful and you're under obviously a
Yeah,
tight schedule. I mean, yeah, if you have somebody who's got a toxic personality, that would be
yeah.
a film killer. You know, you're
And
yeah.
the reason that I brought it up is the fact that I didn't used to have that attitude. Not that everyone was, for themselves, and so I would try to outdo people instead of, interlock with them, and being able to handle feedback was a big part of that.
Yeah, I mean I think when we're young, and I know other animators as well that have told me the same thing. Not just really animators, but a lot of people. But when you kind of grow older and you mature, you look back on those years and you realize, how much you were kind of out for yourself and uh, oh boy. So
Well, I had that. Oh, go ahead.
somebody just spammed my chat here, being silly.
I had that wake up call in 2011 when it seemed like the entire internet was trolling me, and because it was revealed that I was a comedy writer, and no one knew that, and there were other websites trying to top each other, like I was saying. But being trolled taught me to take criticism in a weird way. So I'm better for it. And it also kind of hit me with a bolt of lightning, and the realization that I can't get away with being a jerk on the internet anymore. There are consequences.
Yeah. That's the first time I've ever had to ban somebody from my chat.
First time you ever had what?
That I've had to ban somebody from the chat. I'm not really sure sure why they decided to start throwing in racial slurs randomly. But anyways,
Was that the okay?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Craziness.
So, gee, I can't believe that. I just saw that. That's terrible. Yeah.
So speaking of being trolled,
so hopefully he will be struck by a bolt of internet lightning and learn to take criticism as well.
We'll
and come
see.
out the other end happy and serene. Maybe start his own company and follow his dreams.
And sell flowers and unicorns.
That's what happened. That's what happened for me. I've got sunshine flying out of my window, which I don't think it works that way. But
no comment. But
the window in my soul.
But I do hear what you're saying. One of the things, so you don't have a son or a kid yet. Maybe you will one day.
Nope.
You never know.
Maybe. If I have permission.
But you learn.
I have permission to bring more of myself to the world.
Yes, the mini me,
No.
Don Carlson. But having a kid really puts a lot of things into perspective in terms of learning how your mind reacts to things when you're small, and how self-centered you are as a kid, and it's just the way you're kind of born, and I think that if you study a little bit of psychology, most of that self-centered attitude doesn't really go away until you're, I think, like over 16. Your brain is just not wired for, you know, getting along with people. It's like the lion that goes out there and you know, strays from the pack and then starts his own little herd of lions, you know, and you're kind of wired that way from just, you know, evolutionary psychology, I guess. It's how we're just supposed to be.
Yeah.
And as you get older, everything kind of falls in place, and you know, you become wise and old and hunched over and ugly, and then you're like, I figured it out finally, you know. So I don't know if that
The
makes
only
sense.
only thing I haven't had a comeuppance about and learn from is talking over people. I still do that a bit, so I apologize.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
I saw that I was starting to do that with Webster that one week, and when we were both guests, so I just kind of stepped aside and let him, you know, have the floor. And also, it was hard to hear both of us, so.
Yeah, I think there's also a slight delay on our chat here. I think Google's not quite. It's probably my internet connection, but you know, that's just the way technology is. It doesn't always work, so it's. I wouldn't really worry about it. But you know, yeah, I think that you know, when you kind of are talking about working in a stop motion studio where there's a lot of people, you know, having a good attitude, believe it or not, when you're young, you don't really consider that as a priority. And I know when I worked for Gentleman Films, I used to push Mike Rosinski's buttons, you know, and I really shouldn't. I should not have done that. You know, like this one time, he asked me to make a bottle, a simple bottle that we could have this character Henry cycle. It's like a bottle of I don't know what it was, something toxic like paint thinner or something. And he holds it in his hand, and then he has to use his other hand and like hit it really hard, and it squashes. And then when it comes back up, it's like a, you know, recycled bottle or of you know, the chemicals are recycled and everybody's saved, kind of a thing. It was a really simple concept, and so my task was to make a simple bottle that we painted, and it said something like paint thinner on there, but the bottle itself was really plain. And I thought, well, what I would like to do is I would rather make the bottle have like a little skull on the top, you know, so you know it's really toxic, and have like bones on there and stuff. And but I knew my
what you would like to do, huh?
Yeah, it was about me, right? You know, really stupid of me to be. I was only, I think, what, 20 years old or 19, and
You were a backseat director.
I was, and I knew everything. Let me tell you, I was really smart. But
Hey, it's
yeah,
Let's Get You Behind the Wheel on the. I just noticed that the Netflix thing we're talking about driving references.
yeah.
It's a bit of fun.
Right. Yes, I wanted to be the driver of that studio. But when I was tasked on doing this, I had some super sculpey, and what I did is I made one bottle with the skull on top and the bones, and I made it really fancy. But I didn't tell him that I had made what he wanted also. So he was in the other. We had like a in the backyard was the studio where they had built this kind of like small trailer that we worked out of, and then there was the house. And so I went in the house, and I bought in the both of them, but I hid the one that he wanted, and I showed him what I wanted. And he got so mad. And once he got mad, I was like, "No, I'm just kidding around. Here's what you know. Here's the bottle." And he's like, he looks at me like he wanted to kill me. It was such an immature, dumb thing,
Oh, geez.
and I look back on that, now, I'm almost, I'm over 40 years old now, so for me, it's kind of like, I wondered why I was like that, and it was just ignorance. You just have to grow up
Yeah.
and realize that sometimes things like that are, they take you under your wing,
Yeah.
and so for new animators out there, if you're
Hmm.
ever considering being like that, just don't, don't do it. You know.
You know what's kind of weird? Even so after I had my comeuppance, and it wasn't long before I got a job at a studio. I tried to avoid being an intern,
Yeah.
and that wasn't happening. I ended up having to do an internship that became a paid job, and it was really tough. But even though I knew the guy, I lived with him, you know, he had a very demanding schedule, and he left and put me in charge for 2 weeks while he was on vacation.
Oh wow.
And that job ended up paying for the Will Vinton class, which just came out of the blue.
Huh.
And he thought the advantage was that I wasn't a student at the time, so I could do like an apprenticeship thing, and I wouldn't be like a know-it-all student, film school student. That's what he didn't want. But then I ended up going to film school, and he was like, "Oh no, it starts." But that didn't happen. Anyway, at one point I was working my regular job, and I was working for him, and I was going to school. That was a bit much. That was 3 things going at once.
Hmm.
A 24-hour, schedule.
That's not.
But I learned how to solve problems and get things done, and that's transferred over to my regular job, where I'm being asked to enter leadership, as an assistant, manager,
Mm-hmm.
trainee.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean,
So
that's and it's really that way across, most any company you work for. It's like a skill that is something that most people overlook, and they think like, well, I want to be a director, I want to be a producer, I want to start a studio, I want to be an animator, I want to be like, it doesn't matter what role you play in animation or art or even any other job.
yeah,
That is like the key. That's like the foundation for everything else. And I know I've always put a lot of
yeah,
emphasis on, like, for example, my book Secrets of Clan Animation Revealed. It's purely technical, you know, but the people skills that go along with, the foundation of all that is dependent on each person. And I don't know if that's something that can be really taught more than you have to kind of
um,
experience it, like you kind of have to go through and.
well, let me just suggest this into the conversation, because it's all about suggestion, and it's a form of acting called improv.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never formally studied it, but I've been reading books about it and listening to a podcast um, by the Upright Citizens Brigade founder. And that guy has improv mastered. And I've been using his techniques when I'm singing at the bar at karaoke and
Yeah.
meeting people. And you come to realize after a while that everything is an improv game. The way, and it's all about yes-anding the other person. It's saying that you agree with them, and then you add something to the conversation to keep it going. As soon as one party starts disagreeing with you, then the game is up. And that's that's the way marriages are. That's the way, any working relationship is.
Right,
Um,
right. To a degree, I can give you an example.
hmm,
When it comes to disagreeing with people, I know that uh, the last group of relationships that I had that ended came down to like someone speculating things that were, I don't know what they were, but sometimes it's not necessarily disagreeing, but just getting upset
hmm.
over
Oh, I
somebody,
wanted to,
real or imagined.
yeah.
You know.
I forgot to mention that disagreeing sometimes can be a form of yes-anding.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on context.
Yeah. So what would be an example?
Um, a lion is chasing you, and you need to get away. If you stay there, you're probably going to get eaten. But if you leave and run away, your life continues, and therefore that was yes-anding.
Okay.
But you disagree with the lion wanting to eat you.
That's true. That's true.
So, um, yeah, it's what I should say is when you overtly disagree, mm, depending on a context that is not appropriate to the situation. Like if someone's accusing you of something, then it is appropriate to disagree. But if you're overtly disagreeing with, I kind of don't want to use that context because I can't think of anything you'd want to agree with in that case. But if like you are talking to someone at the bar and they're not having it, or trying to talk to them,
Yeah.
and they're just giving you flippant answers and not rolling their eyes, that's a form of not yes ending. So the conversation abruptly ends before it even started.
Yeah.
But a
See
certain
that?
amount of agreeableness. Have you ever seen the movie Yes Man
I haven't.
with Jim Carrey?
No.
You gotta see that film. It's Jim Carrey and Zooey Deschanel. Sorry if I butchered that name.
Yeah, Jim Carrey's
Um,
pretty. He's a pretty smart guy.
so it's a movie, and it's kind of like Liar Liar in a way. In that movie, he couldn't lie, which kept the film going and going. Um, and he had to disagree with everything everyone said because he wasn't allowed to lie. In this movie, he's saying yes to everything people ask him if he wants to do things. Anything anyone asks him to do. So
I can see how
yes,
that
I
would be a
will. And
funny
then
film.
he sees backpacking in the Serengeti. Going over Niagara Falls in a garbage bag. Just not really, but
Yeah, I can
yeah.
see that could lead to some pretty crazy, outlandish experiences there for sure.
Setting himself on fire and self-immolating while doing the chakra. No, but that that's a form of improv, though. What they were doing. I mean, someone suggests something, he agrees with it, and then they get to go on an adventure, and that's what I'm interested in doing in life more. And we actually had a good improv skit going at the bar one night on the way home from karaoke. A couple guys were talking and walking.
Yeah.
So then, a few comments later, we're engaged in an operation, and I wish I still had that recording because I got permission to post it if I wanted to, but we're just walking and talking. I'm recording us on the phone and just the audio portion. And so he's like, "Oh, the patient is that Operation game."
Okay.
And it just got really surreal after that.
I
But,
could
yeah.
see that, like taking some chopsticks and trying to get your pancreas or something. I mean,
Yeah, I accidentally left a book of matches in his pelvis, something like that.
yeah. Well, I
Sewed
mean,
him up.
that's speaking of improv and everything, that's kind of again, like life imitating art and whatnot. I mean, if you could act out something like that with a group of friends, you could technically translate into like a short film or like a skit. Um, it's like real life, really. Interestingly enough, most ideas that animators come up with or storytellers come up with for animation is in real
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, in fact, if you look closely, you can see, well, you might not know them, but some of my friends have ended up in my films and people I've dated as well.
Is that a fact? Well, you mean like
Yep,
in a good way
yep.
or a bad way? Should I tell them you're making films about them? Or?
In a good way. I mean, no one was, put off by the fact that yeah.
Have you ever heard? Well, you don't have any virtual reality goggles, do you? You don't have? Do you have an Oculus or anything like that, or?
What was that?
Do you have like an Oculus Rift? Do you have any virtual reality headsets or anything?
No,
Well,
I don't have a Rubik's Cube either.
you don't. Well, you need to get the Rubik's Cube, man. You're missing out. That's the most. Everybody has a Rubik's Cube, man. You're crazy.
Someone tried to troll me with the one. It was the Rubik's Cube, but it was just the one cube. They're like, I'm gonna mix it up now, and they twiddle it between their fingers, and then they're like, okay, now I'm gonna solve it, and they just flip it.
Okay, that's a good one. I can see how that would work. Oh, hey, AJ. Hey, I'm doing my live. So why are you awake right now? It's 9:30. You need to brush your teeth and go to sleep, mister. Okay? I still got a live show going on. Okay?
Why?
You need to brush your teeth. Don't ask me why. Well, anyway, back to what I was saying. Having kids, you learn a lot of stuff. But I had this one program which is really awesome. You would actually love it. And I'm gonna try and find the video to show everybody here. And it's virtual reality, and you can animate in it, but you're basically pantomiming, and it's more like puppeteering. What it is when you have virtual reality, the headset, and you have two little hand controllers, one in each hand, and this one program allows you to be different characters. Obviously, they're CG, but wherever your hands move, it's like motion captures. So if you speak, there's a mic in the headset, so it records your voice, and in your hands, wherever you move them, you can pick things up. You press a button, so if there's an object, you can pick it up, you can throw it, you can gesture, you can point with your fingers, like it knows when your fingers are pointing, which I'm still not sure how it knows that. And that's about it. Like, you can't walk, but you can sort of hop in place, and it will kind of register that. So I think I mentioned to you that real life is where you get the best stories, and I made this animation with 3 girls, and of course I had to be the voice of the girls and everything. But it's a real life story about how these people I knew were being really dumb on Facebook, and they're acting like teenagers, you know. And let me see if I can bring it up for you guys. Where is
What
it?
happened to our comment section?
I don't know. Is it being spammed here? Or,
No, no one's saying anything.
no one's saying. Well, we've got nine.
Ah,
Yeah, we got 9 people here. They're being quiet. Maybe because I had to ban that guy or something. But I promise I won't ban anybody else. You don't have to be afraid. But let me show you guys what I've done here. If I can, here it is. Mind Show. Mind Show is the program. And so I made this short film called Selfie. And it's only, how long is it? It's about 2 minutes. So, I don't know, are you able to watch the video screen, Don? Are you able to see the...
yeah.
Yeah? And hopefully you can hear it, too.
Oh wait, where is it?
So, it's the
nice.
live show video. Let me...
Oh yes.
You got. I was going to send you a link. You got the link? Okay. So, this is called Selfie, and it's really stupid. I mean, it's not... I don't know if it's really that super funny, but... I didn't upload it or anything, but you guys can watch and kind of get an idea of what you can do in virtual reality when you're, you know, wanting to do some improv, I guess.
We'll not be able to hear it because we're broadcasting.
Ah, okay. There's no way to hear it, huh, for you?
But I can watch it.
All right. Well, I'll play it, and maybe you can get at least a gist of it anyway. Hey girls, did you see that Sally ate lunch with Sue this morning? Did you see that? She posted all these pictures on Facebook.
Here, if you want,
Dare she?
I can just get off
I can't let
the
her do that. That's
audio
crazy.
portion,
It's
and
not
then I
very nice
can
at all.
watch it with
OMG.
sound, and you
My
can.
boyfriend is so much nicer.
We're an hour and 34 minutes in. If you want, you can wrap up and.
Yeah, sure. That sounds good. Yeah, it has been a long show. I know you're tired as well. So, I guess, yeah.
Do you want to just back that up, and I'll get off the audio?
Sure. Yeah,
Take
it's
it
okay.
Night to all these fine people.
Yeah, thanks for coming
Good night,
on.
everybody. Yeah, I wish you talked more.
Yeah, it's been a long show. They're probably like, when are they gonna shut up?
I wish you said stuff.
Yeah, actually, same here. It has been fairly quiet. All right. Well, anyway, Don, thanks again for coming on. You're invited anytime in the future. If you got anything you want to share,
Thank you.
any news about Puppet Putty next time, maybe you can bring Martin on next time. I know we talked about that.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to be able to talk to specifics about what we're doing, but we can hint at it here and there.
Yeah.
It's under negotiation, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
And NDAs and the contracts and stuff.
Well, talk
But
it
it's
over with
exciting.
him. Yeah, just talk it over with him, and you know, let me know if you want to come on, and we can tie it in with, you know, talk about Puppet Bunny, because it is it's awesome stuff. So that would be nice.
Thank you. Yeah, I made a little mouse with it if you want to show that.
Yeah, is it on
Well,
Facebook?
it's just a mouse head. Yeah,
Okay,
just a head.
that's
I'm
all
trying
right.
to get ahead. Yeah.
Get ahead in life.
Yeah, I've been feeling ill and thought it'd be good to sculpt a little bit.
Yeah.
Some rest. Oh, the tools. Make your own tools.
Did you want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, the what, I'm not sure what to call it, but it goes under different names. Friendly plastic. I guess friendly plastic's no longer being made as the sticks, apparently. That's just something I heard, but you can still get it in pellet form. And but I've got this stuff called polymorph, which is about the same thing. And the reason I wanted to mention this is you can make your own, ear and indentation tools.
Ah.
You know,
So
stuff like that.
if I recall, like friendly plastic is a kind of, it's almost like, what they make a glue stick out of, you can heat it up and it will get soft.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Make sure to use warm water, boiling water to soften it and shape it. But the nice thing about it, though, is that it's slightly flexible in thin parts. So if you make your parts really thin, like the neck of a spoon tool is really thin, then you can just lightly press on the surface of the clay, and it's got a little bit of spring back. And so you can get better smoothing that way than if it were completely rigid.
Ah, I see. So you've experimented with it, and did you use it on your mouse head,
Yeah.
or is that?
Yes,
Ah, okay.
I did.
Perhaps which part? Maybe the ears to do the like little moon shapes.
Pretty much all of it. I did go over it with my finger, but for the most part, that was sculpted with tools,
Very cool.
especially the ears.
Well, it came out awesome. Are you planning to maybe make the
Thank
rest of them? Maybe get some animation.
Yeah. I don't smash them.
Yeah, well, he looks really cool, man.
That's
awesome.
just scrap clay.
Well, it's a good choice of colors. I like the blue and the purple and the sort of orange. Is it maybe? Well, it's hard to tell with your lighting, but the nose looks like maybe pink.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, they were just, when you don't have a lot of colors to choose from, it forces you to be more creative, I've found. When you have too many options of anything that you're trying to do, I find that if you have less options, you're going to get more creative with it. I tend to get stuck if I have too many options.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming if you have like a million colors to choose from.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, I tell you what, take care and, take care of yourself. Follow doctor's orders, eat 2 cookies and call him in the morning or whatever it is he told you.
Yeah, I'm on an ironclad pill schedule.
Oh, no. Well, hopefully not for too long.
It's like lockstep, but yeah, I've got a very aggressive what's it called? Alert, ringtone or alarm.
Yeah.
It's like get up, get up, get up, get up, and then it plays techno music, so I'm up.
Get some funky bass in there.
Couldn't get me up faster than a Britney Spears song or like a
Ew. Please.
or like a pop punk song.
It's like hit that snooze button.
But enough about Pram Maven.
Yeah, man. Well, I guess like I said, we'll talk again. Thanks a lot for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Catch you next
Good
time.
night.
All right.
All right. Bye.
So for the rest of you guys, I will play this video, and yeah, it's a little bit silly, but this is something that I tried out, and if you guys are into acting out scenes before you do them in stop motion, and you have a virtual reality headset, this is actually a free program, so it doesn't cost you anything. And it's called Mind Show. So I'll play my very horribly voice acted short film, and it's called Selfie. See you guys all next week. Hey girls, did you see that Sally ate lunch with Sue this morning? Did you see that? She posted all these pictures on Facebook. How dare she? I don't like Sue. I can't let her do that. That's crazy. That's not very nice at all. OMG. Her boyfriend is so much nicer than mine. That's really upsetting to me. I don't like that at all. This is crazy. Yeah, that's just insane. That's craziness. Not to worry, girls. I have the perfect solution. Oh, what is it? What's the solution? Yeah, what the heck is it? It sounds really good.
All we have to do is go on Facebook and post our insecurities for the whole world to see. Wow, how does that work exactly? That sounds interesting. Yeah, tell us, how does it work? Well, let me tell you. All we had to do is eat out, just the three of us, and forget about Sally. And then when we get out, we'll take a selfie. And then under that selfie, we'll post the same caption that they used on their selfie. And they said, best lunch buddies ever. Isn't it great? But we've been friends for so long, and our family knows her family, and, well, shouldn't we just express our anger and jealousy face to face instead? Exactly. I mean, she even helped my sister to get a job, you know, and I think if we do this, won't it just start everything spiraling downhill and destroy everybody's relationships? That's the point. Oh my God. How did I not see the brilliance in this? I love this idea. Ooh. Oh my gosh. This really is an awesome idea. I say we go down to the McDonald's and we take a selfie. What do you guys think? Yes, let's do it, girls. Let's do it. Best lunch buddies ever.